Hiya. So I don't want to show my face, but I also want to be on camera. So I'm wearing a mask. So a while back, I made a video about how I didn't go to school. And then I made another video about how it's good that I didn't go to school. And in both videos, a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it. But in this video in particular, people had a lot of opinions about it because I made a 19-minute video about public school, homeschool, and unschool. Now, people have a lot of opinions about unschooling their children. I even made a poll about which one is better out of the three. So a lot of people had their opinions about unschooling in my comments section, and some other people were telling me how stupid I am and that I clearly need school. So I'm going to read some of these comments and respond to some of them. Let's start with the shorter ones. Being unschooled is just depression speedrun. I think you're more likely to get depression if you go to public school. This is so fucking sad. Which part of it? Nah, you're 7 and you're not gonna have a future. Okay, I think this person is referring to a comment I made in my video about how I sound 12. This person says I sound 7, and they're telling me how I don't have a future, which yeah. Your vocabulary and or lack thereof make me feel as through going to school would have perhaps been a better option. I don't know what this person is talking about because I have a great vocabulary. And my friend commented too. He said that those unschooled kids are probably doomed. And then someone replied to his comment saying, they are not just probably, they very much are. Unless their parents are rich and can slide them into jobs, they will not succeed. Now I'm going to read this very, very long one that kind of made me mad. Okay, this one really upset me. So I'm going to read it and give my take on it as I go. Yeah, but in your life, you're going to have to deal with your peers. School would prepare you for that. You clearly need school based on this video. Everything you cited was AI. They're referring to what I read off of Google because I went on and on about how there's different types of intelligence and that you don't really need school to be smart. You can be artistic while still being educated. If you struggle in school but are good at art, that's one thing, but you just didn't go to school and act like being good at art makes up for that. You can't pronounce anything. I think what they're referring to is that when I was reading the things off of Google, I stumbled on some words, which yeah, if I'm reading a word that's unfamiliar, how am I supposed to figure it out? Or they might just talking about my overall speech, because I notice sometimes in my videos, it is hard to understand me because I talk so weird. Being able to do whatever you wanted whenever you wanted is not a good thing. It fails to build any shred of discipline at a young age. I agree with that. You have to get a job at some point. As somebody who has a 4-point GPA and cares about school, I am not depressed. I still play video games and do sports and do school. I don't know what a GPA is, but I know that they're bragging about how intelligent they are. The thing about playing video games is, yeah, you can still do these hobbies and still attend school, but the thing for me is that I was super addicted to video games. Like, I could not get enough of Mario Kart 7 when it came out. That's all I ever did. Like, I was so addicted that I didn't even feed myself anymore because that's how addicted I was to playing my 3DS. I just didn't want to do anything else. So I neglected to even feed myself. So I just wanted to play video games all the time. You can do all the free things while still becoming smart. They put their children into a stressful environment because life is stressful. Taxes are stressful. A job is stressful. A child who has never had to feel stressed before will be utterly unequipped for adult life. I agree with that too. And I'm sorry, and your art isn't that bad, but I would expect more from somebody who uses their artistic ability to make up for their lack of socialistic ability. I don't know what that last part was, but okay, this person is sort of like insulting my artistic ability, I think, which is good because I usually get comments saying how good my art is. I need some criticism. Thing is, I've been drawing for 14 years and I never took any classes for it, so I do what I can because sometimes I draw like but then other times it turns out I used to watch a lot of art tutorials on YouTube. I know a kid who was excellent at art. His drawings were incredibly high quality, higher than the ones in this video, and he had mostly A's in school. I do in fact think people who don't go to school are stupid. Their parents failed them. I feel sorry for them. Okay, the thing is, that's just one person's opinion. People who don't attend school are not stupid. Nobody's born stupid. You don't just send your kid off to school to unstupefy them. I mean, some people are good at things, other people are bad at things. I probably would have been bad at school because the math and everything else my parents tried to teach me just did not stick. I was really bad at it, but that doesn't make me stupid. Here's another person who says how I'm very uneducated. This video outlines exactly why you did in fact need school. You have a ton of criticism in the comments, thanks for mentioning that, of people saying everything that I wanted to say, so I'll just say I'm sorry the adults in your life failed you, and I sincerely hope you have the self-discipline and means to take your own education in your own hands today to give yourself the tools you need to thrive. Well, thank you. But not all the adults in my life failed me. It was just my parents. My grandmother actually did want me to get an education. She was the one who was pushing for me to go to kindergarten when I did. So I technically did go to school at one point, but it didn't even last for a whole year. It was only a week of kindergarten. But my grandmother was doing the most to actually teach me things. She would read with me. She put letters and numbers on my door to help me learn the alphabet and what numbers are. Please don't take this as hate. I'm genuinely just trying to be honest, but not having an education isn't good. You don't say. I'm glad you developed soft skills and creativity, and you're clearly good at that. Being book smart isn't just about academic success. It's about knowing how to be functionally literate in any subject. Isn't that the same thing? I went to public school, and yes, it sucked, and schools have major issues, but education is extremely important. I'm sorry your parents did you a disservice. They should have helped you and or gotten you a private tutor. Yeah, I think they were talking about giving me a tutor at one point because I clearly needed help with everything. They didn't want to get me a private tutor because I think that costs a lot of money. Okay, so here's a good one. I believe we should have the option of unschooling. With the educational options, we have a public education system that forces children who are going to fall in line a villain, and it throws them to the wolves. And not every person is gonna be good at the core subjects, but you gotta be taught the basics and go from there with their talents. But that isn't given. It's laziness, which is insane. Hold on, it gets better. Because they came back again and they also said, also, y'all in these comments need some that non-book smart, cause why do you think this person needs to hear how sad and behind they are? Well, at the same time telling them how it was wagging that how they were raised. JFC, I don't know what that means. How about a, hey, you can still do the thing you want to do. There is night school. Or even, is that a joke? Nope, y'all in your elitist ass views proved that exposure to you idiots was probably best held up. So the thing is, I have reading problems all my life. So there's been times where I would read something and it made no sense to me, but it made sense to the other person. And in this case, I thought it was the same thing, but then my friend read this comment and it didn't make any sense to him either. But, yeah, I kind of get the gist of what they're saying. I mean, there are ways around it. You can, like, make up for 12 years of not going to school. But the thing about that is that costs a lot of money. It seems like this person is okay with, the whole unschooling idea. And I really don't want to criticize anyone. I don't know how old this person is, but Their grammar is really bad. Like, I don't know if they actually have a public school education because I have not went to school, but my grammar is actually pretty good. Like, I know how to write. Problem is, I can't spell very well, but I still know how to write. Writing and spelling are kind of two different things. So here's another insulting comment, because I take these very personally. It's one thing to say I turned out as best as I could given the circumstances, and another to admit your skills are far below that of what is expected for an adult, yet still feel homeschooling has validity. Nobody is blaming you for what happened, nor are they criticizing you personally. It's simply clear as day you are living proof of how unschooling doesn't work, and I think as you get older, you will come to realize that more and more. I think I'm doing okay. Sure, public school environments can contribute to mental health struggles, but falling behind your age, cohort, and hard skills, as well as having social isolation, are far, far more devastating to mental health. I've never had problems with my mental health because I never had to deal with other people. I thought other people gives you mental health problems. I was always shielded from that, and I was always just alone in my room doing my own thing. I was just laid back and more chill than the average person because I never had to deal with other people. The fact that you've outlined all the strategies that you have in the end is great, but the reason people are being critical is because those are strategies schools teach to middle schoolers. You should have never had to come up with that all on your own. It's good that I did, right? Here's another long one. Everything in life affects your mental health in some capacity. Stress is unfortunately a natural part of life. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be. I have generalized anxiety disorder, had it all my life. It is not fun. I have had many moments of stress from school, but many more from home, many more from life as a whole. If it wasn't for public school, I'd be significantly less prepared to live in the real world. Parents should 100% help their kids and be understanding. But a good parent also understands that parts of life are going to stressful, and they need to help their kids navigate instead of shielding them from it. Think of the old story of Achilles. His mother was too scared to let him fully be submerged in the field, causing him to have a weak spot on his heel due to his mother holding him. He dies as a result of this weak spot. I remember my 4th grade English teacher loved this story. I have no idea what this person is talking about. Always help your kids when needed. That doesn't mean fighting all their battles. Their cause when I understand homeschooling, such as if you have a queer child who is bullied relentlessly within uncaring school and there's no other option, or for children whose disabilities that cannot be provided with support, but it should never be the default. Yeah, that's sort of what my parents did with me. My mom thought I was severely autistic, so she just never took me to school. I'm sorry that the adults in your life didn't let you have the opportunities you could have had under the presumption that you wouldn't be able to achieve them. While public school is flawed, from my experiences with people who haven't gone or have been restricted from going, it is incredibly common in people that they are abused, which is why they are restricted from going to school. It's an outlet to get help or to get emotional support from peers. I absolutely hated school, but I definitely couldn't be the person I am today, or nor would have the opportunities I have today. I hear this all the time from people in my comments section. I hated school. School was terrible, but it gave me life experiences. You know, we all need school even though we hate it. Like, I mean, if you hate it so much, then just don't go. But I get it. There's the other side of people who actually want career opportunities. The world is a disciplined world, and while school may teach discipline in a flawed way, there's no real other good way to teach it outside of it. That's the thing. I was the kind of kid that didn't like to be told what to do. I actually did get grounded a lot. So if I would have went to school, I probably would have gotten in more trouble because, like, as a kid, the only adults I knew were my parents. So if I had other adults disciplining me, such as teachers or other authority figures like that, I would not be able to handle it that well. The video is titled "The Perks of Not Going to School," but you talk so much about how you don't get multiplication and struggle with reading, never socialize much with your peers, etc. Okay, the thing is that I don't struggle with reading. I don't really use that word. I just say that I suck at reading. So it also breaks my heart to hear someone whose first language is English struggle so much with pretty basic words. These comments just keep getting better. But I don't know what they are talking about. I'm good with words. Oh, you mean reading? I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm actually really good at reading. I love literacy. Like, reading is all I do. Okay, but for real though, I was illiterate like my whole childhood. So I say I came a long way. I read pretty good now, so I don't know what people are talking about. Because we all stumble on a few words. Like one time when I made this video and I was reading off one of the comments, and in that comment it said ratio, but I read it as radio, and then I received a comment from that video and they said, "I can't believe you don't know how to pronounce ratio." So yeah, people have mentioned my bad reading abilities before. I feel like on some level you do understand why and how school is important and good for kids, but maybe just don't want to admit that to yourself. Also, as others in this comment section have said, going to school is extremely important as it teaches you how to deal with stress, other people, how to be disciplined and do things even if you don't want to, and it just gives you so many later opportunities in life. Which is true. Like, I have no discipline as an adult. Let me tell you, one time I got fat. I mean, right now, I have a good build on me, but like at some point I did end up getting fat because I was eating whatever I want when I want. I looked myself in the mirror and I was like, got fat. It was really hard to discipline myself, cut back on the junk food, and to start exercising a lot more. It was really hard, but I ended up losing 20 pounds because losing weight takes a lot of discipline. Hi, I hope you just figured out how to make YouTube launch your videos into space, and this entire story is 90% drawing. It just doesn't seem believable at all. Like, I don't live in English-speaking country, and education here is probably very different from yours or lack thereof, but your parents shouldn't have been allowed to just not teach you at all. It's not that they didn't teach us at all. They taught us some stuff. Weren't you required to pass an exam at the end of each year? No? They do that? As far as I know, it's usually reading, writing, math, and history. But it may be different where you live, otherwise this video seems perfectly crafted to game the algorithm. Yeah, we did math, reading, and history, but the thing about history is that it's just a lot of reading, and I retain no information if I have to read everything. I'm better if someone just verbalizes it to me, otherwise nothing is gonna stick, so I don't remember anything what I read about history. Like, it's genius. Reading AI summaries plus making people feel proud of themselves just for knowing what multiplication is, plus the title being "The Perks of Not Going to School," but it's 19 minutes of cons of not going to school. Also, school makes your mental health worse argument seems to be chosen to be as weak as possible. If you actually wanted to boost your art stuff, then good for you. God tier rage bait video, but if it's all true, then laugh my ass off. And then it says something at the end. Yeah, it's all true. I don't know where this person lives, but in America, you can get away with not teaching your kids. Not all homeschool children are the same, we'll say. Some are taught by parents with actual teacher experience and education, and are taught back up evidence based on education. Unfortunately, due to the absolute lack of regulations for homeschooling in the USA, unschooling is a thing. And so it's parents with no teaching experience or teaching education teaching their children, and the state barely does any check and with the child's physical and mental health and education. Only 20 states have any statewide testing for homeschooled children, and that itself depends. What is statewide testing? With current regulatory requirements for homeschooled children in the USA, it's best to look down on any people who praise homeschooling and see them seeking to neglect children. Now, the thing about homeschooled children, it lets you go at your own pace. That's why some people do it, because, like I said before, my mom thought I was autistic, so she thought that I needed to go at my own pace. But yeah, nobody checked in on us and to see if we were getting an education. Well, some people came over to the house to see if we were actually going to school, because they noticed that me and my brother weren't on the school bus every day. And my mom just told them that we're homeschooled. Okay, for this comment, I'm going to read it from my phone, and I'm filming while using my webcam, because this is a lengthy comment. It's the longest one I received. I'm sorry, I don't mean this in a rude way, but I feel like you completely misunderstand everything, and that's not your fault. You were failed by the adults around you. I wish people could stop saying that. I was only failed by my parents. My grandmother tried to help me. I'm all for the benefits of homeschooling, but unschooling has none of those benefits and all the drawbacks. All your skills are stuff that you would have still been able to learn if you had went to school. A lot of kids who go to regular school, myself included, have those skills. I would argue that with school, you would have more chances to pursue art because of art clubs. Most places have mandatory art classes, grade 8, and elective classes during high school. What is an elective? Not to mention the opportunity to explore different forms of art using school supplies you wouldn't normally have access to. Well, I don't know if that's true, because you can get a lot of art supplies from Walmart. There are a lot of options. School doesn't always cause mental illness. Several factors contribute to school stress, but stuff like social media and social isolation are probably more harmful. Well, I'm on social media a lot, and that doesn't affect me. And I grew up with social isolation. I never communicated to anyone other than my family. But my brother always had problems with mental health. We grew up in the same circumstances, but being alone never really affected me. For your point with the calculators, school isn't just meant to give you information. Your brain is a muscle, and using it helps it grow. I always thought using calculators for math was a form of cheating. History is insanely important. You don't just need to know who these people are. You need to understand why they were important and what they did wrong and how we can do better. Also, you've constantly been fed propaganda. Without this stuff, you are unable to make informed decisions during voting. It's especially horrifying you don't know who MLK is, because his name is drilled into us in school because they know how much racism still affects us today. To address some points you made in the comments, school does help. Gen Alpha struggling with reading and overall literacy rates can be traced back to less reading in general and more time spent watching short form content. Without school, things would be much worse because there would be no motivation to read, and some people wouldn't have access to someone who can teach them. For the thing you said about your brother, I'm not really sure what you mean by smart, but if you mean that he was good at school, that still isn't a good argument for unschooling because you were left behind. I think my parents tried harder with him. At like 9 or 10, he was at the grade level he should be at, while I was just stuck doing kindergarten work. I don't know, it was up to our parents to decide what level we were at, and he was just a higher level than me. And what I mean by smart, well, at the time I couldn't read, so I just used him as a translator for everything. Like when we would play multiplayer in video games, and we would be playing something like The Sims 2, and some text would pop up on screen, I would just ask him, what does that say, because I can't read it. If unschooling worked, few kids would be left uneducated. I feel like there's been a wave of the narrative that since school is flawed, it doesn't matter and you're better off without it. This is untrue and harmful because it is the best tool for leveling inequality, because it is the only tool for most people to gain large amount of skills and knowledge. Hiya. So I was just going to end the video here, but then I realized I had another comment on my computer that I was going to read to all of you. And originally I wasn't going to include it because it's way too positive, but I may as well. Also, it's the same person who commented on one of my other videos, so I hope they're not watching. You seem like you are capable of so much more. You are well-spoken and have great structure to the points you are making. Yes, there are difficulties within school, but the education that happens can push you to do even greater things. I don't think it's fair that you were not given that chance. There is more to experience within school than the home you are living in. There are friends, teachers, and other lovely people that teach you more than just math and reading. Those different ways of living open so many different ideas, cultures, and POVs. I hope you are able to live the life you want. It's never too late to want to continue learning, not necessarily within reading and math, but with your interests. Find videos about art you want to create. It's good to work that mind of yours. I wish you the best. Thank you. I have a roommate, and the thing about making YouTube videos is that people will think you're talking to yourself. Okay, so I'm going to read a couple more comments. I wasn't planning to, but here we go. This person actually commented on my poll right here. I asked which is better. They came back with neither. I mean, I'm pretty sure they voted for something. I have no experience in homeschool. I cannot say much about that. Public school has not helped me much mentally. Unschooling is taking away necessary learning. Like, I wouldn't say that. You can still learn stuff even if you're unschooled. There's still a way to learn things. You learn what you want to learn. That's the whole point of unschooling your children. I'd much more prefer a teaching method personalized to the person in question and given freedom to choose what one is interested in while learning the important basic stuff besides it in a way that is related. Yeah, that's pretty much what my parents taught me. They just taught me the basics of everything, but it was too hard for them to teach me new concepts. That way, even if something is boring, you understand the importance of it and can apply it in real world settings. And we got another very long comment from this person. Knowledge is extremely important, especially in today's society. Where you get it doesn't matter as long as the information you get it is true. Creativity is also important, among other things, such as critical thinking, building relationships, independence, managing money, and probably things I cannot think of right now. Although I can agree school isn't great, depending on your geographical location, they tell you lies. The system overall is designed to make you a worker. What school should be is to teach how to learn and be curious about everything and enjoy learning. But in reality, no one really wants to stay there unless you're lucky and have a favorite subject. I highly encourage you to seek out information and education. Whether you decide to go to school or not, there are great educational resources online already of which you could utilize. But I do not recommend AI as it can lie. Yeah, but I mean, people use Google for a lot of their information. Practice reading more basic math, a little history, and learn about being critical of the resources you use to avoid misinformation before you go to more complex and subjective matters. You can also search up words you don't understand to see what they mean, not just how to spell it. And take notes, write everything you learn into your own words, and put it in your own library of knowledge so that if you ever need to look back at it again, if you forgot, you can find it. I recommend the application called Obsidian. Ask your parents for a bit of guiding as well. But if they don't help you to understand new stuff and challenge you in creative ways, not just giving you a book, then yeah, that starts to look a lot more like neglect. There's a lot more I could say, but it's gonna make this comment way too long. It's a little too late for that. But please seek out for information and learn about the world. So those are all the comments I have for you. But I don't think that you're stupid just because you didn't go to school. Because I'm not stupid, it's just nobody has given me the chance. At a very young age, my parents just thought that I was autistic, that there's no hope for me because I had trouble reading and math and pretty much every other thing. I mean, you know how parents likes to build up their child's confidence by telling them that you can do anything you set your mind to. I never got that. My mom always just told me that, Paige, there's some things you can't do. My brother, it was a different story. She'd always tell him how smart he was and that he needs to get a job and make something of his life. And she said this to him right in front of me. I was in earshot. She didn't care. Homeschooling is a way for some parents to cut corners. I don't think my mom really wanted to get up every morning to make sure we went to school. So she would just give us some workbooks to do every couple of months, and she just called that homeschooling. But she did want my brother to make something of his life, which I guess he did. I'm not in touch with him anymore, but he did work at a Walmart and he moved into an apartment. So I guess he did get a better education than me. So I guess the moral of this story is don't judge someone who hasn't went to school. Also, the other moral of this story is treat your kids equally. Don't hype one kid up and have your other kid feel this small. Also, please check out my drawing videos. I post drawing videos as YouTube shorts. And I also post my drawing videos everywhere else on my other social medias. Okay, bye.